Hello, good day, and welcome back to my channel once again. I must say that I do appreciate all of you, my viewers, right? And I do hope that you've all been edified thus far from all the videos that you have watched, right? Now, as the title of this video suggests, the question that I'd like to ask you who is listening, right? And this question is for every Seventh Day Adventist, right? I want my viewers to be my judge where this is concerned, right? And I want you to tell me, am I unfair to the Seventh Day Adventist Church? And the other groups which I will be dealing with, right, after I finish with them, I want to know if I, Kismar Givens, is unfair in my dealings with them. Is it unfair for me to put out these videos critiquing their teachings and so forth? Right? Now, as this title suggests, you could probably guess that this is not a Bible study, right? This is just a discussion. So hence why the time of this video is so short. It is just a discussion. I have felt impressed to make this video due to the fact that Sunday, was it Sunday? Sunday, December 8th, an Adventist friend of mine messaged me on my WhatsApp, right, in response to some quotes or some memes, somewhat of some memes that I had on my WhatsApp, right, regarding Adventism. Now, when I just left the Seventh Day Adventist Church, I used to put up memes on my WhatsApp very often, right? And someone said to me, say, boy, Kismar, you shouldn't be doing that to them still regardless. And I say, alright, fair enough. Right? So what I try to do is that I try to, kind of tone down on those things, memes and so forth. However, I still put things on my WhatsApp which is to basically expose them. Right? Now, I agree, right? 100% that the putting of memes may somewhat be unnecessary or unchristlike. Now, as I've always told several persons, if you're going to tell me, I have no problem with getting a critique, and where I'm wrong, I will say that I am wrong, right? I'm not too much of a man to say that I am wrong. So where I'm wrong, I'll say that I am wrong. If you're going to critique me and say, boy, Kisma, some things you could do differently in your dealings with them, etc., I'm welcome to listen and to take notes. I have no problem with that. I'll tell several persons who I speak to say, if you're going to tell me how to do my thing, I have no problem. But if you're going to tell me to stay silent and not to expose them, I have a big time problem with that, and I'm most certainly not going to take that advice of yours. The reason for that is because in Jude, verse, I think it's 3 or 4, it says, brethren, we must diligently contend for the faith which was once for all delivered to the saints. The word contend there means to struggle for, to fight for that faith. This is the thing that I did in a video and why I choose to do a ministry and cult. The video starts why I have a ministry and cult, and I was dressed in this same shirt. However, the background was somewhat different. And that's exactly what I said. My purpose in having this ministry is because the Bible said I should. You understand? I'm not the first person to be doing things like this, and I certainly won't be the last. I'm not the only one doing this presently. I'm not the first to be doing it, and I most certainly won't be the last. This, what I'm doing, has been done since the time long before even the New Testament. From the time of the Old Testament, Jeremiah had to do this, what I'm doing, rebuking false prophets and so forth. All through the Old Testament, you find that, and in the New Testament, you find that as well. Jesus as well, they had to rebuke folly, right? And the apostles rebuke false teachings, and they warn against it. They warn against false teachings, and we are instructed not to tolerate it. That's what Jude is essentially saying, when he said to contend for the faith, not to tolerate false doctrine. So I'm not doing anything that the Bible doesn't tell me to do. The Bible if you attempt to say that I shouldn't do what I'm doing and use scripture to justify that, I guarantee that you won't find any. However, I am certain that I can find dozens of scripture to endorse what I'm doing. So if you're going to tell me and say, kiss my heart, I think you should do it this way, I'm welcome to listen. But if you're going to tell me, kiss my heart, don't do it none at all, it's not going to happen. And there's not a man on the planet, neither man nor woman, can get me to silence my mouth. It's not going to happen. And as I've said before, where I'm wrong, I'll agree that I'm wrong. But here's the funny thing about what my friend said to me, right? I agree that I am wrong. I agree that I'm wrong in even putting up memes. But the problem is, I said to him, why do you come to me? Have you ever take it upon yourself to ever go to your pastors and tell them about the wrong that they do? The obvious answer to that is no. You understand? I do not appreciate that none of them go to their pastors and tell them about the wrong that they do. But they are quick. Why? Because I am critiquing their church. And they have no problem whatsoever to critique Roman Catholic and all other churches. See my video where I talk about the thing I hate the most about cults. I'm very certain that this is one of them that I had mentioned. They'll say all manner of things about your church, and if you dare do anything regarding theirs, they have a big problem with it. Right? Let me tell you some things. Since I'm unfair, according to what I'm getting from him, it seems that what I'm doing sometimes by putting memes and so forth is not fair and it is not right. Now I'm going to ask you, if you're an Adventist listening to this, and if you're a non-Adventist listening to this, I'm going to tell you some things that the Seventh Day Adventist Church do, and you tell me if it's fair. One, they teach false, they have a false gospel, right? That is not written in the Bible. It's Ellen White gospel. It's called Health Message, or the Gospel of Health. I'll soon be doing a video on that, right? They have this investigative judgment, which is unbiblical. It undermines the gospel itself. Ellen White is a false prophet, as I've proven before. And while they know, and they trust me, they know that she's a false prophet, they still have it in their fundamental belief that she's a continuing and authoritative source. So when you get converted into Adventism and you see that there, and you get coerced into reading her stuff and believe that she's a prophet, what happens after you read her stuff? You get brainwashed and you get damaged by the very things that the things that you teach, and nothing is wrong with that. In the initial stage of indoctrination, you are not told many things until long after you hear the rest of the story. This is what I mentioned in my video on why is the SDA Church a cult, as one of the things that they do. And nothing is wrong with that. I told a co-worker of mine who I always buy stuff from, right? Who I bought a new phone, why I'm having no issue with videos now, right? And I said to him, whenever I'm buying a phone from him, he tells me everything that I need to know. Everything that I need to know about the phone, he tells me. And he's not a Christian, and yet he can do that, and Seventh Day Adventists who boast that they are the remnant church can't do the same. And nothing is wrong with that, and that is fair, right? You can tell part of the story, and the rest that is important, you wait until long after when it's already too late. Can you imagine if I wait a year after before I know certain things about this phone, right? And having difficulties, or 6 months after when I've already used it and worn out the phone? Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Right? You're buying something from someone, right? You need to know all the details that you should know. That's not good business deal. Oh, did I just mention business deal? Seventh Day Adventist Church, apparently it's a business. Right? Apparently it's a business when you want. It's like, when you go to some business place, right? And they want to get rid of an item that has been there for too long, right? And it is somewhat slightly defective, and they sell it to you knowing that it's slightly defective. That's what you find with Seventh Day Adventist Church, and nothing is wrong with that. They don't tell you about the diet gospel in the initial stage. For anyone they tell that they have to come off meat totally, and that they can't eat ice cream, they can't ice cream and cake and all of these things in the initial stage, Seventh Day Adventist Church will be very minuscule. If they're known about the things about Ellen G. White, it would be very, very, very minuscule. And I am coming into your church, I'm paying tithes and I'm paying offering and all these things. I have a right to know, and yet still they don't tell people these things. And nothing. And if you question their doctrine, if after you come into the church and you begin to question their doctrine, oftentimes they dodge the questions, they do not answer. And if you are questioning too much and questioning publicly and so forth, you get crucified, right? As they dealt with me, if you look in my 3-part series on me leaving Seventh Day Adventist, you see how they treated me just by asking questions, and nothing is wrong with that, right? Nothing is wrong with that. You'll be in a church, a Christian already, and have the true and pure gospel, and they will take you out of that church and give you a false gospel. Tell you that your church is teaching error and they are the true remnant church, etc., etc., all kind of nonsense, and that they must leave your church and come to theirs, come out of Babylon, they will say, and they actually make you worse than you were before. And nothing is wrong with that, right? Nothing is wrong with that. They take you out and they make you worse than you were before. And yet still, nothing is wrong with that. Right? They will break up an entire church if possible. I remember when I just left the Seventh Day Adventist Church and I visited a church, and I was telling a person about my story, how I left the Seventh Day Adventist Church, and she was telling me that how there was a lot of members that was there, and a lot of them gone to the Seventh Day Adventist Church. And I'm here laughing to myself and saying, how did the pastor allow something like that to happen? Seventh Day Adventists to snatch their members. If possible, they would have wiped the church clean and left it empty. After the pastor has, you call it sheep stealing. After the pastor had labored hard to start his church, right, and have his members fellowshipping with them and so forth. Can you imagine you have a church and you have your members fellowshipping with them? You have like about 100 members. And by tomorrow, 95 of them is gone into another church, left you with nothing. All the hard work gone in vain. And this is what they do, and nothing is wrong with that. Nothing is wrong that they break up a church and break up congregations and so forth by telling them that they must come to their church and don't go anyone else's church. Did Christ preach anything like that? Did he give any command to any church that you must go and convert Christians and take them from your church and bring them to your church? Where in the Bible did we find the Apostle Paul or any of them preaching to Christians and telling them basically to leave their church and come into their church? Sure, sometimes they preach about error and warn against error, and they'll point it to Christ. They don't point it to a church or so forth, or point to say, hey, you from the Laodicean church, look at the message to the 7 churches. When Christ gave his message to each of these churches, you realize there was one of the church that was basically pure. You understand? It didn't receive any rebuke, whereas all of them receive a rebuke. I don't remember which church it is right now. I'll post it in the comment section. Right? And you notice that Jesus didn't tell the other churches that they must leave and come and come to that particular church which had no problem. No, that's not what he did. He warned them and tell them to break up their folly ground. You understand? But yet still, this is what the Seventh Day Adventist Church do. Why not preach to people then, since as they feel like their thing is wrong, and say, boy, break up your folly ground, etc., etc. Point them to truth, even though it's falsehood though. But point them to whatever truth you have then, right? And let them convert to that truth and stay where they are. Simple. Preach to the church and let them. Why is it that you have to preach to people and then pull them from out of their church and tell them to come to yours? Now look at the difference with what I am doing. I am preaching to Seventh Day Adventists regarding their error. I'm going to do the same for Jehovah's Witness, and I'm going to do the same for Oneness Pentecostals. I currently attend church at the First Band Portmore Fellowship. You will never hear me tell any of them that they need to come out and come to that church. Sure, if they see the falsehood in what they are being taught, and they want to leave and come to my church, I have no problem with that. What I'm concerned about is that they find the truth and they come to the truth and they come to Christ. That's what I'm concerned about. I'm not concerned about pulling out people and putting them in the church that I'm attending. Christians, no. You're a Christian already and you're already in a church. What I want is for you is to find the truth. And if you find the truth and you don't feel comfortable with the church where you're at, because for you they're not teaching the truth, then you're free to leave and go to a church that is teaching the truth. And I'm sure Church of the First One is not the only church that is teaching the truth. You see the striking difference? I'm not about breaking up congregations and so forth. No. And even if a Seventh Day Adventist want to hear my message and don't leave, it's fine by me. I just want them, what I'm concerned most about is for them to come to the truth. Right? And yet still, it's vastly different with the Seventh Day Adventist Church. Not only do they seek to convert people who attend churches on Sunday, but even Saturday worshippers as well, they would convert them as well. Why? Because they don't have the spirit of prophecy, which they say is Ellen White writings, and they don't have the health message and the investigative judgment doctrine or investigative judgment truth. So even when I was an Adventist, I tried to convert persons who are Sabbatarians who are not Adventists. This is how serious they are. They intend to take members out of everything. They leave churches empty, leave pastors with nothing, right? And nothing is wrong with that. You be my judge and tell me who is unfair. I end what I'm saying here. I do hope that you enjoy this video, right? If you do, please like, comment where necessary, subscribe to my channel, and click the bell icon so that you can receive notifications whenever I make new uploads. And last but not least, share this video with whom you know will benefit from an amazing video gospel. Bye bye now.